All right, what's going on in the hood? Coming at you with a little rant because Joe Rogan's been making some headlines, making some outlandishly bold claims recently on his podcast. He had Gable Steveson on there, so maybe he's blowing smoke up him. He tends to at times do that to some of his guests, but maybe he's doing that out of respect. Who knows? But yeah, he's saying that Gable Steveson is already a top 5 heavyweight in the world. Yes, I am starstruck. That's why I'm blank for a second. He is a top 5 heavyweight in the world. All right. There's a lot to unpack in that statement. I'm gonna skim through what he actually said. He's saying everyone is already effed. That kind of speed incorporated with elite wrestling. The heavyweight division is so shallow right now. You got Tom Aspinall, Serial Gone, John Jones. If he chooses to fight again, cough, cough. If he chooses to stop taking steroids, Francis Ngannou. I don't even know how he mentions Francis when he knows the UFC will never sign him. Other than that, there's no one compelling for a championship caliber fighter. There's basically 4 or 5 guys on the earth that are championship caliber, and you're already there, which is nuts. And you haven't even fought in the UFC yet. All right, let's pull this back a few steps. If you're not aware, Gable Steveson, he is 2-0. He switched over. He's actually been switching around his careers recently. He was originally a collegiate wrestler, won the NCAA championship, I believe, twice. Also went on to win the Olympics, get a gold in the Olympics. Then he went over to WWE. Go watch that. It was a very short-lived career. He didn't really make out that far beyond NXT, which is their developmental system. And I believe he did he tried to do NFL, I believe. And then he decided, F it, I'm gonna go to MMA because he tried to get his 5th year wrestling. He lost in the finals to Wyatt Hendrickson NCAA tournament. That was his like final opportunity to win another championship. He came in second. And then he said, I'm going to start training MMA. I mean, he was probably doing that on the side already because I feel like a lot of wrestlers, and he did one of John Jones' camps, I believe. It was either for the Serial Gone one or definitely for the Stipe one. So yeah, it's always been in the background. Now he's training with John Jones and their gym. But I mean, brother, you have 3 fights on your career. You have you have 3 fights, and your first fight is in September. So you've only been fighting since 4 months ago, and one of the fights was a bare knuckle, and yeah. So I mean, Joe Rogan to compare a very touted prospect to the best of the best at the best promotion in the UFC is already bananas, and putting him in this echelon that only Tom Aspinall, the champ, Serial Gone, the number 1 contender, John Jones, one of the GOATs. Well, he's not a true GOAT in my mind, but one of the GOATs. And Francis Ngannou, probably best heavyweight outside of the UFC. Like, I don't know if Rogan's been switching to crack recently, or is the weed getting a little stronger. He goes on to say, when you watch you move, I watch you fight. I was like, oh, how do you stop that? Who's got the skills to be able to stop that? In my mind, there's only a few guys that are going to be a problem. The Francis Ngannous, the Serial Guns, the Tom Aspinalls. That's it. The only problem is by you getting fights. That kind of speed is bananas for a 250-pound man. I hopefully don't get copyrighted, but yeah, he's had obviously some flashy knockouts. He's knocked out, I believe, all 3 of his opponents, including the bare knuckle boxing, and he's also done short order. Let's see, a minute and 38, 15 seconds, 24. So terrible quality, but I believe this was the bare knuckle. Oof, oof, oof. All right, very fast. I agree. He's got some knockout power. I also agree. Oof. Knockout into a double leg, into another hammer fist. Then he proceeds to hop the cage. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. We've only seen a little bit, and he's clearly fast. He's clearly got that athleticism, and he's clearly got some power in developing striking. But I mean, opponent number 1, the guy who finished in 15 seconds in his second MMA fight. I mean, what are we doing right now? 37, 1-2 as a professional. Was it 4-1 as an amateur? He's now lost 2 in a row by finish. So not really high level competition. Cough, cough, can. Kevin the Baguba Heen, 2-2. Uh, that apology doesn't even have his age or date of birth, so that's concerning. And also, was it 2-2 as a professional? Got some amateur fights. Kind of a gap there, but yeah, I mean, he's got back-to-back finish losses, left hook, and the KO before that. So by no means he has some high-level competition. But okay, we'll give Joe Rogan the benefit of the doubt. You got high-level Olympic wrestling, and you seem to have power, and you're in the heavyweight division, so that should carry you enough. But if we're looking just on track record of like the UFC, it's not as green pastures as you'd think it is to be a high-level wrestler. Mark Madsen, he's a silver medalist in Olympic wrestling, I think Greco. He ended up retiring from the UFC. Did not get as far as you'd think he would get. I mean, here's a Olympic wrestler getting submitted, by their kryptonite jiu-jitsu. Obviously, Bo Nickel, he is not at the highest level of wrestling, but he's still extremely good at wrestling. And here he was getting, as they would say, the youngsters, fraud checked by an RDR. RDR, more of a jiu-jitsu specialist, by no means an A-caliber wrestler. Bo Nickel was not able to implement his plan, and Bo Nickel is probably the closest when it comes to just a comparison of young up-and-comer that had some knockout power, flashy finishes, and a strong wrestling base. Gable Steveson following the similar path, and will probably go in the Dana White Contender Series, similar to him. But obviously on the flip side, and Joe Rogan will definitely tout these men, you have DC, another Olympic gold medalist who was light heavyweight and heavyweight, and was actually successful in implementing his wrestling throughout most of his fights outside of John, the steroid user Bones Jones, and became a double champ and a GOAT of the sport. Henry Cejudo, another gold medalist, and while his tail end of his career, his wrestling wasn't as strong. He used it definitely early on. He beat a fellow GOAT in DJ himself using that wrestling. But I mean, you have to keep in mind both these men. They also had striking. I mean, DC very very good boxing, very good clinch work. That uppercut, very very nasty, and he had power and a good chin too. Henry Cejudo, modest chin, actually very good chin. What am I saying? After his last fight with Payne Talbot, and I always was favorable of his kick game and this and that. Decent power too with the clinch work, despite having usually a height and reach disadvantage. And we haven't seen anything yet from Mr. Stevenson. I mean, he's fought a total of, if you're not including the bare knuckle, he's had a minute there, so 2 minutes and 2 seconds worth of fight time against potentially. I'm not trying to disrespect the regional boys. Two cans, and sure, it's heavyweight. Not the most skilled caliber weight class, and not the most athletic, we'll say. There's a lot of we'll say maybe unsuccessful rugby, football, this kind of guy, just plump boys that they can throw down, but by no means have the skill set. And that's where maybe Joe Rogan isn't going into all the details. I mean, he's saying that essentially this man is a top 5 caliber guy. So he had mentioned Cyril Gahn. He'd mentioned obviously the champ Tom Aspinall. They're probably outside his league. I would argue Sergey Pavlovich, scary matchup. Volkov, even though his kryptonite has been wrestling in the past, I'd still be concerned with that one. Curtis Blades has his wrestling. But I mean, yeah, you go through some of these ranked heavyweights. Marcin Tybura, kind of a chub. Shamil Gaziev, number 11, extra chub. And on top of it, Bam Bam Tai Tuivasa. Oh my God, the amount of content I can produce out of this man. Number 12, and he's a mega chub. I mean, he's a chub that it all hangs out. So yeah, maybe Joe Rogan's right. Maybe just on the fact that this division is so weak and has just so many, especially outside the top 15, just legit chub, oversized, plump men that A, probably can't sprawl for the life of them, and B, when they do get taken down, they will never get up just because of the fact gravity exists. So maybe Joe Rogan's on to something, but I don't know. I personally think my overall take is that Joe Rogan definitely smoking a lot of that doobie doo. Definitely toting Gable Steveson because he's young, and I do think Gable Steveson A is gonna be good for the division. and good for the sport overall, and does have a good baseline from everything from his wrestling background, his athleticism. Seems to be developing early onset of, or not early onset. He already seems to have base power, and on top of it, he has strong guidance from the king of steroids, the king of our sport, John Jones, and a good gym overall. Obviously, Jackson Wink, I believe he trains out there full time. So he has all the potential to be a champion down the road, but he's only 25. So like, let's ease up on it. Let's just call it like it is. He's not a top 5. He's not a top 10. He might be able to stylistically pose some problems for some of these chubs, just on the fact that they're chubs. But I would just, like I said, like Volkov, obviously, very premium. But I think someone like Volkov, Derek Lewis, obviously, not the best or terrible wrestler to a degree. But I just think like no different than when Bo Nickel fought, where it's like the moment the wrestling doesn't guarantee you a first round finish, you start to get tired, so that speed starts to dissipate. And then B, you start getting into a little bit also a firefight where now your opponent's starting to test to see, hey, you've never been, in a dogfight where your chin's been tested. You're never starting to get tired where now you're worrying about body kicks and you're breathing. You're worrying about that constant jab, and now you're starting to see your own blood. And then that's where you're like your mind starts to get tested. Where are you either a fighter or are you an athlete? That's what people said about Bo. They were like, he's probably an athlete more so than a fighter. And they said he quit. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because I bought his sports card and he got a nice knockout afterwards. So, but it's just we haven't seen any data to show if Gable Stevenson, has the cardio passed around, has that chin and just general dog in him. But I think he does. I think any person that gets to the Olympics, especially in wrestling, and as a former wrestler myself, they are clashing heads, this and that. It's a very, very tough sport where I think the carryover just on that kind of element is going to go very well for Gable Stevenson. But yeah, I mean, he hopefully did not take that to heart, and I think he's got to do a similar path to Bo and just hope that you don't get thrown an arguably top 10, top 7 ranked double champ from another promotion, at a hot start, in your 5th or 6th fight in the UFC. Like, if he can take this very slow, maybe get a couple more cans on his record, then go to the Dana White Contender Series, start building his promotional value. And then from there, he can just start fighting a billion, unranked guys. And at least with a heavyweight, unlike middleweight or some of the other divisions, yeah, I mean, he probably fights a couple times in the Dana White promotion, gets or Contender Series, and then he gets 1 or 2 fights on because they'll probably put on pay-per-views. Yeah, he could probably are getting some top 15 guys in this and that, but he just needs, I would imagine, unless he's been secretly practicing his striking for the last 3 years throughout his college career and all that. I think he just needs more years of just sparring and this and that in the gym and developing, especially his jiu-jitsu, because the reality is I think these wrestlers is the moment they get tired and then they get taken down, and Bo Nickel's getting taken down by RDR, it's like, oh, can you get up? Oh, well, now things are changed because the guy's punching on you. So you're worrying about that, and you're worrying about submission. So it's not purely, you can easily get up because that's how you did in wrestling. So yeah, Joe Rogan's got to chill. I think he's got to ease up on the glazing aspect of that department. And I think Gable Steveson, he's just stay in his lane. And I think maybe he's going to be in the UFC, I'd say, by the end of 2026, guaranteed. And he'll probably be on his first pay-per-view card. And I don't see why not by 2027 he's going to be ranked. And it might even be as early as end of 2026 if he can join around the summer and they hotshot him. But a year, even though it's a long time, it's really not, I think, in the world of MMA. I mean, a year, he's still going to be very green, I think, in certain areas. But yeah, let me know what you think. Is Gable Steveson a top 5? Is he a top? Can he match up with anyone in the rankings right now, or is there just is there no chance that he could float that boat? Let me know, like, subscribe, and let me know what content you want to see next.